Then we have Maheshate. Sometimes he's Maheshate Hayisaer. Sometimes he's just Mahashete. We're going to stick with only the one name like Madonna. And he's taking on Gage Young. Mahashete, fun striker. He can hang in a firefight. He can dance on the outside. He can be technical in a kickboxing match as well. He mixes in that traditional martial arts techniques like side kicks with flashy ones like spinning kicks or step-in elbows. If you let him dictate the pace, you could have a long night. But if you stay in his face, you could have success backing him up and getting to his chin or grinding him down to the ground. He's coming off that decision loss to Nicholas Mata where he was dropped twice, but he survived and worked his way to a decision. He's taking on Gage Young. Gage Young's a pretty well-rounded prospect. He's got solid technical striking, decent wrestling as well. He does a good job managing distance before finding his openings with wrestling. When he shoots takedowns, he does a decent job cutting angles, reshooting if he needs to. He's not particularly powerful, but he is busy. He is well-rounded, and he can sneak out some wins. He's coming off that short-notice UFC debut loss to Evan Elder, where he was pressuring forward, but he was also getting tagged up. And I hate breaking down fights like this because I do think Gage Young is a good fighter, but he hasn't shown us that. We haven't been able to see that, especially at any real level. And Mahashete isn't exactly a world beater, but I've seen him hang tough. I've seen him sneak out some solid wins in the UFC octagon, including a flash win over Steve Garcia. So I think Gage is the better fighter here, but without any actual success at this level, I'm going to have to slightly lean the local guy, slightly lean the guy who's been there, who's done that, who's made it happen. So slight lean to Mahashete here, but there are a lot of fights on this card that I'm very confident in, and this is not one of them. That's why you guys know I absolutely despise the random pick total counting and track. It's so fucking stupid to just track. Not only is it stupid to track all picks equally, like right here, I'm like, I'm going to lean Mahashete slightly. But then we get later on the card and be like, I am positive this person wins. And to take those two picks and make them equal, dumbest shit in the world. Then to track that in any meaningful way, but compare somebody like me who picks every single fight, all 12 fights on this card, to somebody who will only pick 9 fights on this card and avoids the bullshit like these fights, and then say total win percentage, also bullshit. Tracking picks, you want to track bets, you want to track picks for just general like, oh, yeah, he's pretty dialed in, then you need the same set of criteria for everybody. That's a random rant that honestly came up out of nowhere because my picks have been doing really well. So I don't know what I'm ranting about, but we rant. That's just what fucking happens sometimes. Before I move on to my next rant, do me a favor and subscribe. We hit 10 million views last week. That is an insane number. That's an insane number. That is not a number I could have ever imagined happening in my, that's just crazy. We started this after COVID. So we didn't even get the COVID boost. If you look at all the channels that were here before COVID, you'll see how many subscribers they have and then how low their views are. For example, we have 38,000 subscribers. We're doing 450 to 500,000 views a rolling 28 days. There are other channels with 100,000 subscribers that do 200,000 views. That's not even close. And that's because, not to their own fault, they didn't do this to themselves, but they were here before COVID. COVID hit. Everybody was home consuming more content than they ever have before and clicking subscribe left and right. So all those channels blew the fuck up. But then when life went back to normal, they didn't really keep those viewers, right? Those viewers went back to normal. They stopped watching the content. So now they kept the subscriber, but they're not getting the views. We came after COVID. We didn't get the giant boost. We didn't get the huge boost during COVID, but what we did get is slow, steady, consistent growth from you all. So I appreciate every last one of you for being here. When I look at the stats, it does say, of those 500,000 views in the last 28 days, only, I think 70-something% of you are subscribed, which means there is a giant number of you that didn't click the button. Please click the button. The only reason I'm asking you to click the button is, A, it does fuel my ego. I'm going to be honest. The number of total subscribers quite literally means nothing. Total views is the only metric that actually matters. Number of total subscribers means nothing. But it does. I want a fucking play button. The second reason, there is random content. We're pretty good about keeping a schedule. You know what to expect from who and when. But there is random content. This week, for example, 2 random videos. On Monday, when the UFC announced their Paramount deal, Jacob just threw up a random video breaking it down, talking about it. If you're not subscribed, that may not have hit your algorithm. Last night, I'm filming this on Saturday morning. And the reason I'm doing so is I'm positive that tonight at UFC 319, I'm going to be up till 1 in the morning. I want to have energy for this video and not film it tomorrow hungover disaster. Anyway, last night, Friday night, Jacob went live randomly with 15 minutes notice, went live and did a prop bet video for UFC 319. If you're not subscribed, that may not have pushed to you or your algorithm. So click the subscribe button. I appreciate every last one of you and all of you. It costs nothing. I know some of you hate the plugs and the promos and no, God forbid Angelo tries to feed his family. That doesn't cost anything. So please. What does cost money though, you're going to hate this, is the fight simulator. If you go to the website, wewantpicks.com, we have a whole suite, a whole slew, a whole breakdown of fights and tools and insight and information, literally anything you could ever want or need. One of those tools is the fight simulator. What this does is it takes every fighter on the card. It brings in a ridiculous amount of data points like striking and grappling and fantasy points. It brings in all these data points, and it's just a wildly fancy calculator that simulates those fights using the data, and then it gives you the outputs. We use the outputs, or at least I use the outputs to find bets. I use it for significant strike bets and takedown bets. I use it in that regard. Most people use it for fantasy purposes and let it build DraftKings Fantasy and now FanDuel Fantasy lineups. Other people use it just for the picks. Anybody can use it for anything they want. It's included in everything we do. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's $10. It's such an insignificant amount of money. And I know on the surface, it's $10. It's me. It's Jacob. We got Josh, the web guy. I have a developer that's coding these things to include everything we include and make it only $10. For the last 3 years, despite inflation, go buy eggs. Tell me what those cost. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.